Hey, what's up guys, it's Tech Ed Kirsch. Okay, in the previous video, I gave you the #1 secret to making sure your resume gets more interviews or gets interviews at all, because I know you not here because you're getting a ton of interviews. We're struggling out here. Even for people with experience, we're not getting those interviews and those callbacks, all right? So in the previous video, I talked about what's the secret, the main secret to getting interviewed for the resume, and that is shifting your mindset from the resume being about me to the resume being about the job. Okay? All right. The next secret, the next thing you want to do after you listed your top 6, make sure you've gone back and you listed the top 6 bullet points from the description, not from your experience. Forget your experience. From the description, and write your experiences that match with those top 6. You may not match all, but list as many as you can. All right? That's your list. The next thing you're going to do is use the correct resume template. All right? And the secret to this is making it easy for your resume to read. I'll explain this. Okay. Many people have a lot of templates and resume things that they go by and all that stuff. Like, should you put your photo on the resume? Should you put your skills and experiences at the top? Should you put your education at the top? And I see many different things. They say, oh, if you're a student, you should put your education at the top. If you're a working professional, you should put your experience at the top and your projects and then your whatever. Oh, what's the rule as far as how long the resume should be? Forget all that stuff. That doesn't matter. I'm going to give you the guaranteed always work framework that will make sure your resume is something the recruiter even wants to read in the first place. It's called reducing cognitive load, okay? And making your resume want to read. Where did I get this concept from? It was when I was doing blog posting, okay, on my websites. So what I ended up finding out was that you want to write your posts in such a way that it's going to take people from the top of the blog post down to the next section of the blog post, not to the bottom, not to the end of the post. You want to get them to the next sentence in the next paragraph. How do you do that? Well, the first thing is a good headline to get their attention. Okay? Is to get their attention. So the framework I'm going to give to you is a full framework in how to organize your resume to make sure that you maximize your chances of getting an interview. Okay. So #1, the first thing you want to put at the top of your resume is the headline. Okay. Why is that important? Rephrase. The first thing you want to put at the top of your resume is your name. Big and bold letters, your name at the top. All right. Then you put your standard city and state, wherever you're living, your province. You don't have to put your street address. That's too much information. They just want to know if you're in the same city or not. So they can put you in the local pile or the not local pile or the out of state pile. This is particularly applicable to the United States because a huge factor for a lot of people is even when they get a job offer, they may still reject the role if they get another offer that's close to them or where they won't have to move. That happens all the time. And hiring managers know this. So they're going to separate your pile into the local versus not local pile. Okay, so just a little tidbit on that city and state thing there. That's important. Make sure you put that. But you don't have to put your full address. The next thing you want to put underneath your name is your professional email. Okay. One thing that I want people to understand is that you want to think like an entrepreneur, even though you're acting like an employee. Okay. And what does an entrepreneur do? An entrepreneur is a service provider. They provide service. They are working professional. And so what you want to do and give off is that you have the professionalism and the confidence and the skills to solve the company's problem. And the company is a client, is a prospective client and customer who is in need. That's why they posted the job description. All right? And you're here to help them solve that problem. Okay. So what you do by having a professional email with your first name and your last name, ideally, And even if your name is the same as others, put like a unique code or something like that. Your Kirsch.Mackey77 or something like that. Then that professional email can make a difference. Versus, you know, first letter of your name, some middle name thing that they don't know, and then 078. Yeah, that can work, but it leaves a different impression. What you want to do is, first of all, get their attention, and also get their attention with the headline, and also make a good impression. Give them a good subconscious impression in exploring your resume. Okay. The third thing you want to put is your LinkedIn profile. Now, if your LinkedIn isn't up to snuff, that's fine. Just get a profile picture up there and and list your basic experience, at least your education, to show that you're a real person and that you have some kind of profile. The next thing you want to put is your headline. Below that, your headline. What is the headline? The headline is the title of the job. Okay? The difference between a resume, just think about this. You have one resume that has a name, right, and all the information, and it goes straight into skills, experience, whatever. You have another, that's a Freudian slip because it's going into the framework, but you have another resume now where the hiring manager and recruiter see your name, they see your location and city, you're both in the same city, you'll both have profiles, professional emails, but then they see right after that, big and bold, the job title. And they're like, whoa, this person's specifically looking for this job. It matches. What you want to do as much as possible is match your resume. You want to craft a resume that matches or mirrors what the job description is looking for. So let's say you're looking for, hardware systems engineer intern at Apple, right? You want to put at the title of your resume, hardware systems engineer intern at Apple. Okay? The next thing you want to do is, once you put that title, that draws their attention. That says, oh, that tells me that this is the right resume to read. The next section you want to have are your skills, not your experience, not your education. Why is this? Because the main concern with the job description is that they're asking, can the person do the job we need? And we know you're not going to be able to do the job if you don't have the skills. So the skills are the most important, aside from the headline, are the most important part of the resume. And they're the easiest thing to read and to pick up on. You want to reduce cognitive load. What that means is you want to make it easy for your recruiter and hiring manager to read the next section. So they have the headline, the title. Next thing they have is something easy to read, which are the skills. So you put Python, right? These are the top skills that you would have seen from what you would have done in the previous lessons, which is the top 6 things you need to have that are already in the job description. All right? So list the relevant skills from the top 6 bullet points that they need from the job descriptions and anything else they put in there. This is free game, a fair game. Put those top 6 skills from the job description in the top skills in your skills section. All right? So if they mention Python first for this job or whatever it is, hardware systems engineer, put Python as the first skill. Don't put it last. Don't put it near the bottom or the middle. Put it first. That's what they're looking for. There's a reason they put it first. If they're looking for the next thing, MATLAB, put that second, right? If it's the second bullet point. If they're looking for hardware PCB design, you put that third. If they list that third. If they list it first, put that first. You see what I'm saying? You want to list those skills. And since they're quick bullet points, they're easy for the recruiters to be like, they're hitting that skill, they're hitting that skill. Okay, cool. Now I have a reason, subconsciously, to go into your experience to see where you demonstrate that skill. All right? So the next section you want to hit is the experience, not education. Well, Kirsch, where would I put education? No, don't put education first. Because here's the thing. In the job description, they didn't say needs to be from this university, needs to have this GPA. No, they want a job done. If they know you have the skills and the experience to do the role, but you graduated not from this university, do you really think they care that much? Do you really think they give a shit? Okay. They want to know, can you do the job? Okay? So you want to have your skills and then your experience. Your experience, why is that next? It's to demonstrate where you have applied these skills in the real world. employers know and people know that you don't actually know what you're doing until you've done it. Knowledge is different from knowing. Knowing is because you have the knowledge and you can apply that thing. You know how to get the job done. If you just have head knowledge and you learn some things and you haven't actually done it, then it's not as good. The value is not there. So they're going to look at your experience. Experience is the best teacher, and for a reason. So they look at your experience. They've been convinced now by your skills that you can do your experience. To look at your experience. Excuse me. They look at your experience and they say, oh, they can do Python this way. How did they demonstrate that? And you say, Python did blah, 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 applied it, blah, 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 to achieve this goal. And then the next bullet point shows how you demonstrated this other skill that you listed at the top. They're going to care about these things because the skills that you're listing are exactly the ones that they have in the job description. Okay? So they'll read each of these experiences showing proof that you know how to demonstrating that you know these skills that you claim to have for this title or role that is of peak interest. Okay? The next section after that is your projects. So these are things that you would have done in university, on your own, your project portfolio, internships, anything like that. Those are also quite valuable because it's also real world experience. And if you don't have a lot of experience or any at organizations, companies, you would put your you could put your projects, and that could do very well. And that is what can help you bridge the gap between academia and industry. Okay? So you put your experience and your skills, your experience, then your projects. Next, you have okay. Next, after your projects, that's where you put your education, notable certificates, research papers, right? And that's your academic stuff. The last thing you want to put on a resume is your academic stuff, because that's most likely not what's going to get you hired, because they want to know your experience and your projects, your real world experience. Now, for those of you who are research, who are graduate students, and you do have projects that you've done that are literally applicable to the job, things that you have done that the job is asking for, absolutely put that research on there. Research projects that you've done, you can put that under your education, academia, so that there's that nice additional bit of like, ooh, they also have practical experience in academia. And also list projects you've done in your academic experience. That's basically experience, but in academics. Right? Even though it's on the bottom of the list of things, you put that there, and that's another bit of more information. But make sure that all of your experience is you demonstrating the skills that they're looking for in the first place, and you would have gotten that from the job description. You do that and focus only on those things, not on you, but on them. You're going to have a killer resume that is going to grab that recruiter's attention, and it's going to force them to have to pick up that phone and have a conversation with you. All right? So if you want a template, check out a video where I show you the template for the resume, and I'll show you how to craft a resume based on an ideal job description.